Hey, Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline. And today, fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to talk about the newest Walking Dead episode otherwise known as Consume. That's right, fans. This is a character that focuses once again on specific characters. This time it features Carol and Daryl, which I thought was a really well done episode as well, because these two, before the whole group got splitting up, were great friends. So for them to work together for the first time since they were split up, I thought was awesome. Now again, this episode features these two characters, and that's all you see in this entire episode. Besides Noah, who was the person that Beth helped escape from the crazy hospital. So yeah, no Rick, no Glenn, no Abraham, no Maggie. So once again, we're focusing on two characters here, which I have a feeling that by the time we get to next year, with the episodes in February or whatnot in 2015, that's when we're going to see the group come together. But right now, I think they're focusing really heavy on separate character episodes to help you, get a little bit more attached to the characters, get to know them a little bit better. Now, this episode really focuses heavy on Carol, and certain flashbacks had to feature on what she experienced when she was separated from the group, when Rick kicked her out. You get to see her experience, her being alone for the first time, kind of at a breaking point. And then when she notices that there could be possible trouble lurking, she went to go help her friends. And I thought she became a very strong character that way. And Carol in this series really in many ways is Andrea in the comic book series. It's like those two took two totally separate paths. Carol in the comic book was that woman that needed that relationship, and then when she didn't have it anymore, she went crazy and she killed herself. And Andrea was the one that became strong. Well, in here, it was like in the show, Andrea is the one that wanted some type of relationship or be attached to somebody. Now, she didn't go crazy, but she just wound up getting killed by a zombie in the end. And Carol wound up having the broken home, and she got herself stronger because of it. Um, and she's kind of become that Andrea badass that this show was missing originally. So, yeah. So again, this episode focuses a lot on Carol and then Daryl being there as well, kind of starting their relationship in a way over again. And you get to see them team up, go to Atlanta, follow this car that supposedly could have taken Beth. And it was really great to see some battle scenes here with Carol and Daryl working together in Atlanta, because we always get to see, the zombies in woods and whatnot. So it's cool to see the characters deal in situations like this that they really haven't been around. Now, they know how the zombies work. They're not terrified by the zombies anymore. They kind of treat them like flies. They kind of swat them away like flies. So they don't panic. But in this episode, they come across Noah, and Noah steals all their weapons. So they're forced to go without weapons for a while. Meanwhile, trying to figure out what has happened to Beth. And they came across one of these ambulance cars that had those insignias on them. And they found out where this hospital was. But in the meantime, there's a whole bunch of zombies holding around this ambulance car. And they wound up pushing the ambulance over. And it was a crazy scene there with Carol and Daryl just falling in this ambulance car, and then the zombies flying on top of it. It was just epic. It was an awesome scene there. But after they come across Noah once again and they recover their weapons, they get information towards the end of where Beth could be. And at the very end of the episode, as we see them exiting the building, you actually see what happens to Carol, on why she winds up being in that hospital to begin with. A lot of us were speculating if she was faking, if there was really an injury there, and you find out in this episode what actually happens, which is she's actually injured. And how she got that way, I'm not going to actually tell you, but it was interesting. And now you find out who was with Daryl at that end of that episode a couple of episodes ago, and it was Noah telling Michonne basically what the story is. So it looks like what's going to happen here is Noah and Daryl and everybody are going to wind up going to this hospital to try to rescue Beth. It looks like that's where the story is going, probably towards the end of the season, and then we're going to get a full story going forward, I think, in the second half of the season. I think that's where we're headed to at this point. So after watching this episode, it was kind of slow, but it had its suspenseful moments. But I really enjoyed Carol and Daryl as partners. They're really good friends. It was good to see them working together again, but nothing really progressed the story here. It was just them fighting against zombies and finding out that Beth was in this hospital, which was kind of predictable. You knew that they were going to find this out. It was just a matter of how and when. Nothing really progressed the story. You just got some answers to your questions here on what happened to Carol, who was the person behind the bush with Daryl, and that's basically about it. So hopefully in the next episode we find out more and see what's going to go on with our other characters here as well, because this season has been a season with just very individual character type of episodes, not a real whole huge plot line here. And we have hardly seen anything from Carl, from Rick, from Maggie, from Glenn, even though they were showed in episodes. Nothing going on here that drives their characters or the main story at all. So I think this is kind of like a side story again until we get to the second half of the season, and then I feel that this group will come back together again. So, guys, tell me your thoughts about this episode. Did you like it? Did you feel it was filler? What do you think of this season's Walking Dead? Do you like this approach that they're doing? Yeah, tell me again. Do you want the group to come back together? So, yeah, I want to hear your guys' opinions on this particular episode and this season so far. So, guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Frontline. And until the next comic review or TV review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, fans.